Good morning. Let's look at this problem solving for Thursday, September 2nd. And the reason that I want to do this one with you is because it's particularly challenging because it's something we really haven't been exposed to yet. Now, I was just making plans this morning and we are going to be talking more about measuring and metric length starting next week in science. Raise your hand if you've heard of the metric system. Right. So anyway, the metric system is the unit that we will always use in science. And the reason why is because every other civilized country in the world besides the United States uses the metric system. We use the customary system. So when we are talking about measuring, we use units like inches and feet and yards and miles. But in other countries, they use millimeters, centimeters, kilometers, to measure length. So in science, we always use the metric system because we know that it's important for scientists to communicate with scientists from all over the world. And if we're talking inches and feet, scientists in other countries aren't familiar with that. So we use the metric system. And that's really true in most industries because countries work globally. They don't only work with the United States, but my husband, he sells window treatments, and that seems like a silly little thing, but if he orders window treatments from companies that are outside of this country, which we do sometimes because we can get great prices on those, they have to be able to talk back and forth and convert those measurements between inches and centimeters or feet and, not kilometers, that'd be big, but feet and meters, things like that. So we have to be able to understand the metric system. It's super important. But we don't have to understand it this morning because we haven't learned it yet. So let's talk for a minute about it, and we'll talk more about that next week. The bus route is a rectangle. I think that's a great math action word that we should box. Around a neighborhood that is 7 kilometers by 15 kilometers. Okay, that word by is a math action word we can talk about. If the bus does this route twice per day, how many meters is it about to travel? So how many and then meters. Those are some important math action words. So I like something that I saw as I walked around the room was a lot of people had drawn a rectangle. And I think that is great because that is visualizing what the bus route looks like. So here we have 7 kilometers by 15 kilometers. Now let's just think for a minute, what does a kilometer look like? What do we have in our country that's closest to a kilometer? What measurement of length do we know that is closest to a kilometer? Cordelia? Not a meter. A meter is a metric measurement. A mile. A kilometer is closest to a mile. So when we look at this rectangle, it's just a regular size rectangle, but when it says 15 kilometers, that is a long distance. Okay? Most of you don't even live 15 kilometers from our school. Okay? So 15 kilometers is a pretty long distance, okay? You may notice sometime if you look at your mom and dad's vehicle and it'll tell you like how many miles per hour they're going. Underneath that miles per hour, a lot of times it'll tell you kilometers per hour because if you were in a different country, the speed limits would be posted in kilometers per hour, not miles per hour. Put your hand down, please. Okay, so 15 kilometers. Now this is a meter stick. This is 1 meter. How many meters do you think that it might take to make a whole kilometer? Now in my science class, we talked a little bit about metrics and why it's easy to convert between units and metrics. Dane, how many meters might be in a kilometer? Okay, that's a great guess. So if you laid this down 100 times, would that be a kilometer?
No.
Owen, what do you think?
8,000.
Okay, it's going to be have a 1 in the front, and it's going to be followed by some zeros. So Dame said 100. So what could it be? Not 2,000, but it could be what? 1,000. Okay? So a meter, it takes 1,000 meters to make 1 kilometer. So if I laid this meter stick down 1,000 times, that would be a kilometer. Okay, it's kind of hard for us to visualize that, right? But we can see 1 meter. So one thing I just want to throw out there, and this is something that you are going to be required to know eventually this school year, is the prefix kilo means 1,000. So in metrics, we're going to talk about kilometers, but we're also going to talk about kilograms and kiloliters, okay? And every time it means 1,000 grams, 1,000 liters, 1,000 meters. Kilo always means 1,000. Yes, ma'am.
I'm thinking of life, and it has like the little, they have like little piggy money, and at the end of them, it says K.
Okay, that stands for 1,000. That's exactly right. That stands 1,000 Ks or 1 K is 1,000. Okay, so if so when we go and convert between units, we have to either multiply by 1,000 or divide by 1,000. So is a kilometer bigger than a meter or smaller than a meter?
Bigger.
Bigger. So when I go from kilometers to meters, is it my meters number going to be bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
Bigger, because it takes more meters. So in order to convert this to meters, which I'm doing because it asks, my answer says how many meters, then I have to multiply this number by 1,000. Okay? I have to, go wash your hands, please. I have to multiply this number by 1,000. Okay? So that's a lot, but it's really not, because if we come over here and we do 15 times 1,000, what does that equal? What is 15 times 1,000? AJ?
15,000.
15,000. 15 times 1 is 15, and then I need to add my 3 zeros. Okay, so 7 kilometers is 7 times 1,000. How many meters is that? Every hand should be up. 7 times 1,000. I think everyone in here can do that math. Carter. 7,000 meters. Okay? Now, so if I do the route one time, am I going to just go from here to here?
No.
No, I have to go all the way around, right? So I have 15,000 plus 15,000 plus 7,000 plus 7,000. Right, we're going to get there. So 5 and 5 is 10, 7 and 7 is 14. So that's a total of 24. Then I have 2, 3, 4 for 44,000 meters. Okay? But just like Carter said, they do the route twice a day. What does the word twice mean in math? What do I need to do in math when it says twice? Lily? Multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. Or just double it so we can add it again. So how many meters is that? 88,000 meters. Okay, it's 88,000 meters. Okay, who can give me a great sentence? Who can give me a great sentence? Ella.
The neighborhood, the bus will travel 8,088 times.
Try again on the number. What's that number?
88,000.
Yep, 88,000 what?
Meters.
Yep, 88,000 meters. And you can abbreviate meters just with an M. Okay, I know that's a little bit crowded there. We can abbreviate the word meters with just an M. Okay, so that one was extra challenging. Okay, we're going to finish this up at recess, bud. Okay, are there any questions about that? Okay,